Greetings, Game Tile backers! Here we are at the Dwarven Forge Studios. We're gonna do the more in-depth paint video today, and to join us is Eric, one of our top backers, the only one that actually made it to Bushwick.
How are you, Cliff?
Yes.
Okay.
I know, right?
Alright. I made it! Eric, here we are again to show you the in-depth painting tutorial with a couple of guests. Two of our top backers from various parts of the country have driven and flown in here to help with the painting videos. What do we have?
Hi, I'm Eric. I'm down here from Boston. Very excited to be here to learn from one of the experts here on how to paint these tiles and make them look amazing.
I'm Cliff. I'm from Middletown, Connecticut. I've been gaming for 16 years and these are just fantastic. I can't wait to learn how to paint them. It's going to be a great time.
These are actual gamers, folks. These are not paid actors or, whatnots. These are the real dudes. And we are here today to show you how we're going to paint the unpainted game tiles with the help of our top backers here. So let me reintroduce our four Picorni colors. There's the base gray, the earthstone, the olive dry brush, and the stone edge dry brush. And we're going to show you how to use these colors to paint your pieces. One thing you're going to need to paint your tiles is paper towels. I recommend getting good paper towels. Something that's absorbent so you can do your dry brushing. You're going to need this. I would not recommend just using newspapers or cheap paper towels. Get a nice paper towel that soaks it up good. Get like 4 or 5 sheets for the dry brushing. Alright, you start with the base gray. Open the nozzle. You see the beautiful nozzles that open and close. I'm going to use some of this base gray. Alright, close the nozzle and take the big bushy brush. This is a nice number 12 brush. Real hairs, not synthetic. We dip our brushes into this paint, and now you see how I am sort of drying it out just a little bit. Okay, not too much, not too much. This is not really dry brush. And I'm going to just flick it over the edge of the piece like this. A little bit. Now the object here is not to get into the tiny little cracks. It's just to sort of cover the stones. Now, for instance, like a floor tile, so I'm gonna dip my base gray. Notice I don't use any water because these are formulated to just the right viscosity. Now watch how I paint the floor piece. You see this? Guys, see? See that? Oh, so easy. Alright, but you gotta do the edges too. So do the edges, like this. So all it takes is just a quick, base gray. This is not exactly dry brushing, this is sort of like a wet brush. Like a wet brush. Not too wet, but not too dry either. Make sure there's no globs. You don't want to have globs of paint on your brush. You don't want to have globs. So you just dry it out a little bit and then apply the base coat. Alright guys, we're going to clean the brushes. Now, what I recommend is I use something called the Master's Hand Soap. The Master's Hand Soap. But you can use like, Ivory soap or any kind of soap you can use. But I use the Master's. Masters. It smells good too. It smells like, it's like a mint green. It smells like mints. We want to have the water a kind of a warm. Never hot, warm, okay? And what I'm gonna do is I washing the brush. I take my fingers and I I rub the brush and I run my fingers through the bristles, and then see how I rub it on my hand, the palm of my hand. That's gonna help. Okay. Guys, wanna try that? That's it. Yeah, that's right. Use your fingers to make sure. Yeah, and the palm of your hand. Beautiful, beautiful. Look at that technique. Look at that technique. Great. Okay, so now we're gonna switch brushes. We're gonna switch brushes. These ones, now make sure the points of your brushes are pointed and not they're not flayed. Okay, and then put it down. And let's go to the number 3 brush, because now we're gonna paint the individual stones using our next paint, which is the earth stone. We're gonna use the earth stone color to paint individual stones. Alright. I use ceramic palettes, they're very nice. What I suggest is you start on the edges first. The edges, because you want to have on each edge, on each one of these edges, you want to have at least like 1 brown stone, maybe 2 on the edges. I usually like to paint the middle one on the top. You don't have to be perfect, like we're gonna dry brush over it, so don't worry too much if you overlap another stone. In the end it just adds a little bit of depth to it. You don't have to worry about perfection here. You're gonna have to paint so many of these that don't worry too much about it. Just do your best. Have fun, not that difficult. It's not like painting a tiny miniature where you gotta paint little eyeballs. You just gotta cover one stone, that's it. That's basically the hardest part of this whole process. So don't fret, it's easy, it's a piece of cake. It just takes a little bit of time, basically. Alright, so once we finish that stage, painting little stones, we're going to let them dry. They should take like 5 or 10 minutes to dry. Shouldn't take that long. And meanwhile, we're going to wash our brushes. But there's such a little brush, we're not going to have to go and like make an extensive cleaning. We could just use a little glass of water. We'll take the brush, we'll dry it out a little first here, see? And then we'll just there. It's good enough. I actually hit the bottom. of the jar sometimes. Make sure and then once again at the end, I'm sort of like with my fingers forming the tip again, and I'm gonna put that here. Let it dry out. Now I always let them dry out, sort of lying down. Okay. Let your brushes dry lying down. It's better for them than letting them dry standing up. Because if you let them dry standing up, all the water is going to seep down into the handle, and it may not seem like a big deal, but if you do it like 1,000 times, it adds up. And what you're doing is the water is like going and splitting into the wood. Better to keep it like this. Let your brushes dry out flat. Okay, so now we're gonna go to step 3. So we're ready to use the third color, olive dry brush. So I'm gonna pour that in here. This is dry brush. This is the dry brush stage now. So we're gonna take some in and we're gonna dry it out. First on the lip of the palette, right? And then we're gonna dry it. You see how well I'm drying this out now? See that? Okay. And then I'm gonna take the piece and I'm gonna sort of, brush it on the edges. I'm gonna homogenize. You'll get the hang of this after you've done it a bunch of times. Dip, dry. Make sure it's pretty dry, and then...
Do you do the base too, or just the wall?
Yeah, everything. Now if we're going to paint an entire set, we wouldn't have to be washing our brushes after each stage because we could paint like 50 pieces at once. So we'd be doing this step, we would have all our pieces laid out and we'll do, you know, all 50 pieces at once. So the brush will stay wet for a longer time. I know it's a little bit, you know, of a pain in the butt to clean your brushes, but it is essential, folks, if you really want to be a master. Alright guys, so we're now on to the final stage. This is it. This is where it all pays off now. This is where we're going to make everything come together here. I'm going to use and make sure this brush is dry enough. We just cleaned our brushes. Let's dry it out a little, okay? To make sure it's not too wet. Especially at this phase, the final phase, you don't want the brush to be too wet. Okay, let's make sure it's dry. And if you have more than one brush, I'd even use a different brush. But we're going to use the same brush. Okay, if you glob on too much, don't panic. Just apply another base gray. Go back to gray.
Great practice.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it'll be fine. Cover it up with gray, let it dry, and do it again. Here we go. We're gonna go and use the Stone Edge dry brush. Stone Edge. Alright. You want to capture the edges with the feathering technique. The soft feather technique we're gonna use here. Okay. So guys, here you go. Dipper brushes. And this phase, you want to really dry out your brush. Even more than the last phase. You want this dry brush to be really dried out. Really dried out. Now a lot of times what you might want to do is do it on your hand. Because you can feel it. Your flesh can feel it if there's still color on there, you see? An experiment, you know, until you get it just right. Alright? Now this is really where the artistic part comes in the most. You want to sort of look at your piece as you're doing it and decide whether it's too much or not enough. Are you getting it, guys?
Excited, thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. You gotta now get all sides too, the tops, the bottoms, the edges. There you go. So basically, now you can see 3 different colors: the base gray, the earth stone, and the stone edge. 3 colors if you do it properly. And we got a little more. See that?
Okay.
I mean, it's up to you.
Yeah.
You know, everyone has a different idea of how light and how dark they want to do it. You know.
What do you think?
Yeah, it's looking good. Oh yeah, there you go.
Very nice.
See how easy it is? Beautiful.
Taking us home.
There you go. Check it out. Yeah. There you go. Woo, hey, high five, everybody. Woo, yes. Woo. There we go. There it is, folks. I know you can do it. Your own hand-painted game tile.